Are you local, Frank?
I am local.
Yeah. Are you from here?
No, I'm actually from the Bay Area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, from Santa Clara.
Gotcha. So, but you're living in Vacaville?
Living in Vacaville now, yeah.
How long you been here?
About 3 years.
Oh, okay. So you're fairly new.
Fairly new.
So did Lean Feast bring you out here or other reasons?
No, so have you heard of Orange Theory Fitness?
Yes.
Yeah, so I opened up the one in Vacaville. Yep, so I moved here 3 years ago to open that.
I'm so glad I brought you here even more, dude.
Yeah.
So that's yours too?
Yeah.
Cool. Wow. So why Vacaville then for your businesses?
Yeah, so with Orange Theory, whenever my business partner and I applied for the licenses, they corporate kind of gives you the appointed areas that you can look within. So mine was Fairfield, Benicia, and Vacaville. So we just kind of were searching, and then the demographics in Vacaville were by far the strongest. So then we found it. We looked for about 5 or 6 months or so. We found a great location in the Vacaville Commons, right next to the Safeway and Target and that shopping center.
Gotcha.
And the Vacaville is great. The community is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Vacaville. I have a business there as well, and I just I'm so thankful for the city of Vacaville. Our 5-year anniversary, because we have a boba shop in Vacaville. It's on Friday, and like I just can't thank them enough for supporting our little tiny like business, you know.
Yeah, no, 100%. I feel like the city is very supportive with local businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's hard to find sometimes with certain cities, you know.
Totally.
Like people will go out of the way to go to this place compared to like a McDonald's or a Starbucks.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like, especially compared to the Bay Area where it's so dense and there's so many different small cities, you could just get overlooked so simply, you know, just so easily just overlooked. So I feel like Vacaville, you know, and for me, the big reason why I chose Vacaville as well was because I really felt like the community needed something like that. There wasn't really any sort of premium fitness, and the demographics with a lot of, you know, nurses and doctors and of course the Air Force Base and police and EMT, they wanted something like this, you know. And when I was doing my research, I was like, wow, it really does feel like the Bay Area in terms of demographics and the people. But I kind of, my perspective was like, coming from the Bay Area, the Silicon Valley, I feel like everything was ahead of time. Like, right, we have Apple, Google, YouTube, Facebook, everything, Instagram. And then whenever I came here, it felt like it was 5 years behind in time. So I just kind of felt like I really wanted to bring it to the city and be the first one to do it.
Yeah, you hit that on the nose for sure. Vacaville has always been like 10 years behind, if anything.
Right.
To the Bay Area. And so like I said, I have a boba shop, and boba's been around a long time. And I mean, when we opened, people were still wondering what boba was. You know, in the Bay Area, it was there since like the late 90s, I'm assuming. So, yeah. So we are just, you know what it is. I guess when you're in a big city, you get first dibs of like things like Orange Theory or boba.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So.
And it's crazy too. Whenever I first moved here, I was like, oh my gosh, it's so slow. Everything felt so slow. And I didn't really like it in the beginning, but now I love it. And anytime I go back home and I visit family or friends, I'm like, oh my gosh, the Bay Area feels so fast. You know, so I really kind of got acclimated to how slow things are here, and I really enjoy it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Because I've heard the opposite sometimes. They're like,
really?
It's way too slow. And
Yeah.
A buddy of mine, he actually opened up a gym a few years ago here, and he moved from the Bay Area as well. And he had a tough time adjusting, you know. So he no longer has a gym anymore, but just didn't work out for him, you know.
Yeah.
But is Orange Theory doing good?
Yeah, COVID definitely threw a wrench in there for us. We had to close for almost 9 months straight. So that kind of, and we'll probably get into that in a little bit, but that kind of was what transitioned me into Lean Feast and helped me kind of pivot.
Smart.
Yeah.
The reason why I started this podcast was because we had to shut this place down for almost 9 months as well. And landlords weren't too nice. We had to continue to pay rent. Wow. So I had to make some use of this. And I was like, all right, I'm going to start a podcast.
Yeah, smart.
So then you're going to be episode 32 now.
Awesome.
So we're 32 episodes deep, man.
Let's go.
Yeah. And I'm super happy, like I said, that you came on here because I've heard nothing but good things about you. Yeah, about you and your business. We actually did a couple episodes ago. We always do a weekly restaurant recommendation, and Lean Feast was one of them.
No way.
Yeah, we ate it on air and everything.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
so you already tried the food?
Yeah, dude, it was good.
Great.
And you know, believe it or not, I do work out, and I love good, like healthy food, and I like unhealthy food, but yours was like the perfect middle. I had, it was like sweet potato, some chicken, and some vegetables. AJ had, you had the salmon, right?
Oh yeah.
Spot on, my friend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, spot on.
Yeah.
So, and honestly, like why I really wanted to come on, because I've never heard of a place like yours. I understand it's a franchise, right? But I didn't even know you guys were out there. It was so unique to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that like you can provide these healthy meals, almost like meal preps, right?
Yeah, 100% meal preps.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we're like the only brick and mortar meal prep place out there. All the other meal prep places, their food is frozen, or they have to ship it frozen because they ship out of state. We do have a ton of questions too. A lot of people, will DM us on Instagram and message us and just kind of ask, can you ship it? Can you ship it to Virginia, New Jersey, New York? And Vacaville, Lean Feast really kind of benefits the city that it's in because it's brick and mortar, and I think a lot of people, I think that's why we've been so successful there, is because people can walk up and see all the options and kind of choose their food. And they're really, really happy with it. When our bar is full, you can make over 4,000 different combinations. So, and I think that's the challenging part when it comes to meal prep too, is that whenever you're cooking at home, things tend to be kind of bland. You kind of go to the basic chicken, brown rice, broccoli. For us, we have 15 different flavors of chicken, 12 different flavors of steak. We have the seafood options, vegetarian options. So we have something for anybody that no matter their dietary restrictions or if they're picky or not.
Agree. Yeah. Now I've yet to go into your shop, but just kind of browsing your Instagram, what you did with the place, like, cheers to you, man. Amazing. Cause it used to be the Rubio's.
Yep.
Yeah. And, just coming from experience, because we built my boba shop from the ground up. It used to be like an office, and we turned it into a restaurant. It is no easy feat.
No,
man,
not at all. You definitely have to have a vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was that like with you and your partner, or you did this one by yourself?
Yeah, I do have a partner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I did handle all the construction and the architect and everything on my own.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it was nice because Rubio's, they had all the bones, right? Because whenever you're opening up a restaurant, you want to find something that has a hood and a walk-in fridge, walk-in freezer. So we did definitely score with that location for sure. So it was mainly cosmetics, just different flooring, different paint. So it was pretty straightforward in that sense. And, whenever people walk in, they're like, this was the old Rubio's. It looks nothing like it. But my thing, I wanted to kind of keep everything nice and light and open and modern and just it to feel very spacious.
Yeah, you did a good job. It looks great.
Thank you.
I want to ask you, what was your experience like with the city of Vacaville and just getting everything approved and all that stuff?
It was actually pretty good, pretty streamlined. I think it was because of the Orange Theory that I opened. I had to kind of go through the same process. The only thing with Lean Feast that I didn't have to go through with Orange Theory was obviously through the health department. But process-wise, it was actually quite fast.
Nice.
Yeah, so it wasn't too bad at all. City of Vacaville is great, and I think after you kind of give them your business model and you explain what you want to put in the city, if they like it, if they think that, that restaurant or that business would work well with the city and the community, they're very, very supportive. So it does definitely start with them first, and then I think that the community and all the residents within the city follow.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. What was the biggest challenge or hiccup from, I saw like you started construction in December?
Yes.
And then open till like what, late spring?
April, yep.
April, yeah. So that's like pretty average for like, from beginning to end.
For the build out, yeah. It took about 9.5 weeks or so. So build out wasn't too bad. The biggest struggle, probably just COVID. I think COVID just kind of threw like the delayed in response from the city. It wasn't too bad, but just what I was used to with Orange Theory whenever COVID, way before COVID hit. Just kind of like the whole delay process was definitely the hard part about it. But, I knew Lean Feast was going to be successful. I think I had a really cool take on it from Orange Theory, bringing Orange Theory to the city. That being such a great success, knowing that it also goes hand in hand, right? Fitness and food, nutrition. And, I've been personal training for over 11 years now. And the hardest part for all of my clients has always been their diet. Like the workout can be fun. You can hire a trainer. You could do something like Orange Theory or, Barry's Boot Camp or Soul Cycle, something like that, where the workout is fun and people actually enjoy doing it and they're motivated to do that. But the diet's the hardest part. So I knew that if something like Orange Theory, which costs a premium, is successful, then something like Lean Feast would be very successful because the cost of our food is definitely not premium. The food is, but the cost really isn't. It's very affordable. Our average price point for a 4-ounce meal is $7.50. So
yes,
less than McDonald's, less than Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, that's beautiful. $7.50. How do you do it? With like food costs and everything? That's amazing. I guess that's a benefit of being a franchise, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like easier price points and everything.
Exactly. Yeah. Wholesale prices. Yeah.
So, if I may ask, since you are a franchisee, do you still get to oversee like the quality of vegetables and proteins that come into Lean Feast?
Yeah, 100%. That's totally up to us. Yeah. So corporate kind of gives us the appointed, people to go through in terms of ordering, but when it comes to veggies and really all the food, we can choose if we want to go local and organic and the quality of the meat and stuff like that. So, I wanted to continue to support local and also get my veggies and everything from local farmers.
Nice. Because my wife and I, who is also my partner, we considered going the franchise route once upon a time with our boba shop, and the biggest turnoff for us was they were strict on like using everything that they provide, and there was no like freedom for us to kind of just be creative. So we kind of just went the other route. So I'm always curious when I talk to other like franchisee owners and stuff, like how free they are allowed to be.
Right. No, totally.
So that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, and I think for us too, as long as you're corporate just wants that brand consistency, which I totally agree with. When you go into Lean Feast Vacaville, it should, you should be able to order the same thing and have the same quality as if you were to go to the store in Stockton or the Bay Area or, down in LA. So, what we do keep consistent is definitely all of our sauces and things that we marinate everything in. So no matter what meat you're choosing, it does all taste the same. But I just wanted to bring the top quality to everybody.
Nice. Isn't that like the hardest part, man, about having a restaurant is just consistency?
Oh my gosh.
Like people love McDonald's for that reason. You know exactly what you're going to get, right? But man, there's so many variables to just making some chicken and rice.
Right. It really is. Especially whenever you're doing it in mass production. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But that was my biggest thing that I learned in the very beginning was like my biggest goal was to keep that consistent because we are a restaurant. It is food. And as a consumer, before I opened just any restaurant that I would go to that I loved their special or their burger or their steak or whatever it was, every time I went back, I wanted to make sure that it tasted the same. Right. So I think I kind of had that mindset going into it that I wanted to keep that with my restaurant. No matter when they came in, the teriyaki always tasted the same. It was always the exact same, if not better.
Smart. Are you you're one of the crazy entrepreneurs like myself who want to have more than one fucking business. Excuse my language. So how are you balancing between the two businesses? Yeah. How's that been for you, man?
Yeah. So my whole story with Orange Theory, I started off as a coach back in 2015. And then within that year, the first year that I became a coach, I found a business partner and we kind of were talking back and forth. Her and I came up with the deal and then we went and applied for the licenses. So I got the license. So I was actually the first employee throughout the whole entire network at Orange Theory to become from a coach to a franchisee. Ever.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. Nobody else has done it from being a coach and then now, an owner. So I was coaching for a while and then I finally found my location, and right when COVID hit, it was probably about like 7.5 months in, I ended up selling my equity to my business partner because Lean Feast kind of came about. I signed on with the team and then I knew that would be a way for me to open up Lean Feast but before that happened, my plan was to kind of balance both. And now that I've sold and then opened up Lean Feast, I'm very happy that it happened that way because there's no way I would have been able to do it.
Smart.
No way. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes a lot of sense too.
Yeah.
It's a whole new animal once you have like more than one business. It just eats at you.
Yeah. I mean, especially from ways. Exactly. Yeah. Especially from a gym to a restaurant. The restaurant is just a different animal. It's a different beast. And it was my first restaurant, second business. So business to me, it wasn't brand new, but restaurant is definitely something, that you just really need to just completely dive into.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was going to ask you. I'm sure you know the statistics. Like, I don't know if this holds true anymore, but it's somewhere between 70 to 80% of restaurants fail within their first year. Well, why would you do what you're doing right now, man?
Yeah,
you got to be a crazy person, right?
Right. Yeah.
What made you do it?
So many of my friends and stuff asked that. They're like, "You want to open up a restaurant in the middle of COVID?" But the cool fact about it is that not one Lean Feast had to close during COVID at all, because our biggest thing in our business model is you can come in, grab the food and leave, or we could deliver it, or it could be curbside. So all the locations that were open pre-COVID and during COVID, all they did was if they had tables inside, they just pulled their tables away, pulled their chairs away, and they just had people, stay 6 feet apart and socially distance themselves. And they still continued to conduct business, and they actually saw a pretty good increase in revenue during that time because all the other restaurants had to close, right? Like the bigger chains or even the mom and pops, that the main way that they're making their revenue is by people coming in and dining in. They had to close. And I don't think a lot of people were really too keen to the idea of, well, let's go order there and go pick it up, right? But Lean Feast was able to pivot, and
yes.
They actually saw that good steady increase. So for me, that was the biggest, reason why I was like, it's COVID proof. So hopefully this doesn't ever happen again to us in the world where we have to shut things down. But even if it did, I know that the business and the industry that I'm within through Lean Feast, we would be fine through anything.
Yeah, I agree. And that is one thing that benefited us with our boba shop as well, because it's a very tiny restaurant, and it seems like the smaller restaurants who weren't really, a place where you sit down and you stay for a while, they kind of like tended to do better, I think, and it benefited us because we can fit like at the most 20 people in a restaurant. Okay. So we're just grab and go. Yeah. And I totally agree with you. It kind of helped us to be COVID proof, quote unquote.
Yeah, totally. I mean? Yeah. 100%. And just from like the economic side of it too, you want something with smaller square footage so your rent's not as high. So I'm all about that. Small spaces, grab and go, from the business side of it, it all makes more sense than a huge place.
Mm-hmm. Last year changed a lot of things with the restaurant business. I just feel like, for a while, I don't know how many people are going to be wanting to go to like the fancy like white tablecloth restaurants and stuff. Yeah, it's changed, and I like those places, but I just feel like are you going to go to one anytime soon? People are kind of just like slowly creeping out right now. Yeah, for some people.
It is very interesting. I think that people still kind of want that, but I think that people will go there less. Yeah. Too. I think that, on date nights and stuff, and just wanting to get out of the house, and we've all been cooped up for over a year. So I think initially people, when they were open, were all going out, but especially, a few months ago whenever restaurants were open, sit-down restaurants were open, but it was very limited capacity at 25%. That's what turned me off. You'd walk into a place and there'd be 50 open tables and, 5 people are eating there, and the hostess or, waiter is like, oh, it's a 45-minute wait. And you're looking around like, well, there's 50 open tables. So that kind of turned me off a little bit too. But yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how the restaurant industry does, how the gym industry does too, because just to kind of transition into the gym industry in that sense too. I feel like a lot of people bought a lot of home equipment, Peloton, they made a killing and stuff. So people spent thousands of dollars on making their garage gym to where now they're not really wanting or needing to go back to a gym, especially something like, I think Orange Theory is going to do totally fine, but it is a premium. So I think whenever people have their home gyms, they're not necessarily going to jump right back into that because it is a premium. It's not, $9.99 a month. It's a lot more.
I've never done an Orange Theory, but all my homies that do it, they love it. So
it's great.
I get why, or they can justify for themselves why they pay that monthly for you guys.
Yeah, totally.
So it makes sense. Mm-hmm. I have to ask you, because we opened another restaurant in the Sacramento area in February of 2020. So a few weeks later, everything shut down. Wow. What was that like for you as a restaurant owner? Like, what was that feeling? How did you handle it personally?
So, like last year?
Yeah.
So Lean Feast we opened April this year. So I actually,
I got my, okay, scratch that question.
No, it's all, it's all good. Yeah, no, we opened up this year, April, but I was actually looking for locations at that time. And because I signed with a franchise late 2019. So right away we were already starting to look for locations. So I was looking, during that or right before that time and then right when COVID hit. But thankfully all that time kind of went by, and I feel that it was great timing to open up April because so many people put on a lot of weight, right? Like the COVID-20. Yeah. So whenever we opened this year, everybody was ready to get back to it, and COVID was, it wasn't completely gone. It's still not completely gone, but people were just kind of wanting to get back to normal life and in a good regimen and routine again. So everybody was just ecstatic that we opened it, you know. And, you know, the biggest feedback that we've been getting too is just that Vacaville has been needing this for so long. There's so many options in different places to eat, but none are truly healthy, where you can come, you know everything in there is good, you know, the quality is good, and you could walk in and get 10, 15, 20 meals.
Yeah, agreed. As a restaurant that serves a lot of sugar, carbs, and fat, I can definitely agree with we needed you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
There's so much room for a restaurant like yours. Mm-hmm. Well, you said like your friends were kind of like questioning, no, I don't know, maybe they were. They're like, why would you still want to open up a restaurant after this? Like, what, were you like pot committed? Why did you continue to pursue Lean Feast after going through this crazy year that we did?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like how I was saying, just that none of the stores had to close. So I knew that it was COVID proof, and for me, I feel like the business mind and business owner, the entrepreneur that I am, once my mind is made up, it's made up. Nobody's convincing me of anything else. Yeah. So even though you're always gonna have doubters, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it's friends, family, you know, whomever, you're always gonna have people that doubt you. But once you're really focused and honed in on what you want to do, that's the way I live my life. You know, I'm focused and I'm driven on that. But it does take me a long time, and it's very well thought out. It's not just, you know, a shot in the dark or a sporadic decision. It's definitely very, very well thought out.
Nice. You sound like my wife. I'm the opposite. Yeah. Shots in the dark are my favorite.
Yeah. Risk taker. I like it.
That's why like we're perfect for each other.
Yeah.
So is that how like you've always been, just very calculated and just making sure like every step is thought? Because my wife, she can see 5 steps ahead. I wish I was like that, but that's just not me, you know? Yeah,
I feel like it's kind of always been ingrained in me, but just over the past maybe like 5 to 6 years, it's definitely come out more, and I've been able to really come up with legitimate game plans and actually have reasons why. And that's one of my biggest things, is always why. Question everything. Well, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to pursue that? Why do you think it's going to be successful? Why do you think it's going to fail? You know, so just kind of always answering my own personal whys, and just having a good, well mapped out plan.
Nice. I love that. What did you do before you were an Orange Theory coach? Like, was this something you've always been in the line of entrepreneurship and small business?
Yeah. So I graduated high school, went to junior college for 2.5 years. Then I went to San Jose State for a year, dropped out. And I think for me, what I learned quickly in college, at least, was my major was kinesiology and a minor in business. And I feel kind of like I learned everything that school could teach me, and I just wanted to take what I knew and apply it to the real world. So right after I dropped out, I actually got a great job at Facebook in Menlo Park. I was a security guard there for about 2 years, but in that meantime, I kind of took the job to get into the gym there at Facebook. And so I was there for about 2 years, and I went through 4.5 months of interviews. So it was a very stringent process, because to become a Facebook employee, they're very picky on who they're going to allow in there. So I was the youngest trainer to ever be on the team at Facebook. And so I was there. I was training for about 2 years, and then in that time is whenever Orange Theory kind of came about. One of my good friends, his name's Brendan, he was coming to the Bay Area and opening up a ton of Orange Theories. So one of my friends I went to school with, she called me one day. She's like, hey, yeah, have you heard of Orange Theory? And I kept saying the name wrong. I'm like, I don't know what Orange Therapy is. I don't know what that means. So she's like, just Google it. I feel like you would be a great coach. They're looking for like 40 coaches, because this guy's going to come and open up like 10 locations within the next 1 to 2 years. So I kind of ignored it. I was super happy at Facebook, employee, making great money for like a 20-year-old. And she just kind of kept hounding me, and I'm so glad that she did. And I was like, okay, like I'll go check it out. So I went and I took a class in Willow Glen, which is the first Orange Theory location in the Bay Area in Northern California. And I fell in love with it right away. I kind of thought it was just like a group training class, majority women, just really wasn't interested in it. And I think, you know, my entrepreneurial mindset, I always wanted to own something. I didn't want to report to somebody. I wanted to be my own boss. I didn't want to have a glass ceiling. I just wanted to be able to do what I wanted to do. Not that I can't work with people or anything. I just didn't want a cap. I wanted to be able to do anything I wanted to do. So after After weeks and weeks of her hounding me, I took the class and fell in love with it. And then I went, it was me and probably 50 other coaches that we all did this massive audition. I was so nervous. There was about 20 different franchise owners there, 10 different studio managers and 50 coaches. And we all literally went in a room, did our audition and left. I was so nervous. And I ended up getting the job. So I ended up becoming a coach. So I balanced Facebook and Orange Theory, but I just saw a great opportunity with Orange Theory because I knew I could own it. I knew I could be a franchisee. It wasn't a guarantee, but that was way more realistic than owning Facebook or anything like that, becoming my boss at Facebook. So I made the transition from Facebook to Orange Theory after I became a franchisee. So I was balancing the two for about 8 months or so. And then right whenever I got accepted as a franchisee, I peaced out at Facebook.
Nice. Dude, you sound like a fellow risk taker, man. Are you sure you're not willing to gamble?
No, definitely willing to gamble. No, I'm a big risk taker for sure. I think just throughout the years, I've just learned to take time with it. You know, don't rush into it and don't bite off more than you could chew.
Yes. Yeah, it can be a big mistake. Something I do all the time.
Literally, too, whenever I'm eating, I always bite off more than I could chew.
Right. You don't look like it, man. But, is there any fear peppered in there? It's, our listeners, that's one of the biggest questions that they have is how can you just do this so easily? How can you just say, hey, fuck it, I'm going to open up a business and put it all on the line?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely fear. There's always going to be fear. I think that you just have to learn how to block it out, and you have to really believe in what you want to do, right? You have to have your own niche. And that was my big thing was I had my own niche. It was premium fitness. It was something that the city needed, and I did a lot of research on it. So do your research. If you're fearful about it, figure out why, because you're always going to have that kind of voice in your head, which is good. You want that. You don't want to just aimlessly, do things, especially when it comes to business, because there's a lot of risk to it. There's a lot of money involved, and there's just a lot of different risks and things that can happen. So fear is always going to be there, but I've just kind of learned how to turn it down a little bit in my head, and just really believe in what I want to open and what I want to pursue. And if you do, you'll do it. Because no matter what the process, there's always going to be hiccups. There's always going to be bumps in the road. It's never, both of those, my businesses it was the opposite of a smooth process. And it was the opposite of the path that I was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And these are all the steps that are going to happen. It didn't go my way at all. But it's great. It's a huge blessing that in hindsight, whenever, after we're open for 6 months, I'm just so thankful that it didn't happen my way. I'm so thankful that it happened the way that, it was meant to happen.
Exactly. Yes. Now that you have perspective, you can see that it was meant to be.
Exactly.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
And in order to get that perspective, you have to just go through the weeds and just fight through all these hurdles.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Totally. And you just have to do it. You really do have to take that leap of faith, because like I said, the fear is going to be there, but you're never going to actually understand it and do it if you don't initially do it. If you want to be an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur, and open up a ton of businesses, you have to open up your first one, right?
Yeah.
You can't and you should learn from your first one. You will learn from your first one. So write it down, write the mistakes you made, and try not to make those mistakes again. Because I think for me, as I continue to open and I will expand, with Lean Feast, and I want to open up multiple locations, the mistakes that I made in the beginning, those won't ever happen again. You're bound to make them if it's your first time in that industry, or if it's your first time ever opening up a business, because you don't know any better. And you can go to school for it, you could read all these books and stuff, and you could retain all this knowledge, but it's still so different when push comes to shove and you actually, the wheels hit the ground and you have to perform and you have to actually do it. But you just have to be really in love and passionate about what you want to do and what you want to open, because no matter what, there's going to be hurdles there. When those hurdles come, I think that's why a lot of people don't end up actually pursuing and opening up a business and going all the way with it, is because they kind of want to do it, excuse my language, but they're half-assed with it, and if you're really committed, no matter what hurdles come your way, you're going to figure out how to get over them or around them or under them or through them. Yeah. And you're going to make it happen, but you have to be in love with what you want to do.
Agreed. Yeah. That's one of my wife and I's motto, especially when things get tough, is we always just tell ourselves, we remind ourselves, your business is only going to fail if you let it fail. And that's just something, it's so simple, but also at the same time, it's really just on you. And you said it, I hate having a boss.
Yeah.
So if you're going to hate having a boss, you better make sure if you turn around, you see nobody, it's on you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, I love that. That's great.
And you have to be okay with that too. Making sure that like, there's no one else to look at but yourself.
Yeah, 100%. And that made me just kind of think of like Orange Theory as a whole. I was at a conference a few years ago, and we were in an owners meeting. There's probably 200 owners there, and they were just kind of showing us graphs and different just statistics on the success of these studios over on the left and these studios over on the right. And the ones on the left were very successful. The ones on the right, they weren't failing or anything, but they were just kind of mediocre. And they kind of went around the room and asked, why do you think these ones are successful and these ones aren't as successful? And a lot of people said, well, location and whatnot. But it kind of came down to the ones on the left that are very successful, the owner operators are there. They're there every day. They're there every week. They're the face of the company. These ones, they kind of opened it from afar, maybe another city or another state even, and they kind of not necessarily turn their back on it, but they're not there every day.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to make your business as successful as you, like you said,
yes.
right? Like you are the one that's going to either make it fail or make it very successful. So that's one of my biggest things as well, is that I'm not going to ever open up a business and turn my back on it. Like I want to be there. That's just kind of the way I am too. Like I want it my way in that sense. And I know that I can make it this successful. And I want to, kind of create that community and that culture. And you can only do that if you're there. You can't create a culture from afar. You know, you have to be physically there.
Yes. If you're listening out there, my homie Frank is speaking so much truth right now. And just to be vulnerable right now. So like I said, I opened up Cultura last year. So my second restaurant, and we have a partner who does an amazing job. His name is Jaden. He runs Peace, Love, and Boba right now. And I couldn't be more proud of him. He's a young cat. But we like with COVID and everything that we had to do, Carla and I, we had to spend all of our time at Cultura in Sacramento. And there's these little things that kind of just like get swept under the rug with your original restaurant, mainly because Carla and I are not there every day to catch it. And it's just, that's one thing I didn't expect, but I should have expected if I was more like you and just like planned it out. But if you're going to open up a restaurant, another restaurant, you have to make sure that like every T is crossed pretty much before you decide to open up that next business, because there's going to be like these holes that just go in the ship, and eventually you're going to say, oh, no, we're not there. But the culture that you speak of, it kind of changes.
Totally.
If you're not there every day.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And you really have to take your time, and you have to build that culture in the very beginning, and you have to find a good team, and you have to empower them. That's one of my biggest things. I always try to empower my employees to where I'm there and I'm helping them, but I want them to do it on their own. So when I do step away, I know that they're all an extension of me, and I know that the business is being ran the way that I would want it to be when I'm not there. Yeah. And luckily I have my sister Hannah. She's our manager over there. She moved to Vacaville about 6 months ago. And it's great just because having a family member there, it kind of takes that out of it where, we're texting all the time. She's updating me all the time. And it's just a great relationship that we have. And, in the beginning, I was a little hesitant doing that. You know how the saying is, don't mix friends or family with business. But her and I, it's just me and her. She's my only sibling. 2 years older, but we have a great relationship, and we've always just had this really, really tight bond. And I knew that it wouldn't be like that statistic out there, that saying out there didn't really relate to her and I, because and to just me being the younger brother, like I really didn't know how she would take it. Like, you're the younger brother, don't tell me what to do, but I'm so thankful for her. And I just feel like that having her in Vacaville will allow me to step away a little sooner than if I didn't have her and I just had an employee that I hired that is, a great manager, but not family.
Yeah. I was actually, it's funny you bring that up. I was recently thinking about that saying, how you're not supposed to partner up with your family or don't mix family with business. Because before I started my own entrepreneur path, I worked with my family for over a decade. We have a grocery store in Sassoon, and, it can get a little ugly sometimes, but if I zoom out over the past 14 years, like, it's been nothing but positive. Me, my dad, my mom, and my sisters, we still love each other, so I don't know whoever made that up. Maybe it's not necessarily true. I know there's statistics out there that prove that it can go wrong, but it can definitely be a beautiful thing if you do exactly what you're saying right now, is just be present.
100%. I think the biggest thing is communication. You have to be transparent and communicate with them and set expectations and boundaries. And one of the big things that, I implemented with Hannah is, this is the brother talking and this is the business partner talking, right? So, permission to speak almost, right? So if we're just kind of shooting the shit and we're going back and forth, that's the brother of me talking. But if there's something business, and whenever I'm speaking the business voice, don't take any of it personal. This is only talking about the business and to benefit the business better, so kind of separating that and have two different voices. I think that's a great tool to use whenever you do go into business with a family member or friend, because if it's just your relationship with that person, you're talking about your personal life and having fun and going out last night and then business at the same time, and it's all kind of integrated in one, it could get it could get mixed up and kind of messy, So I really liked that, and it's been working for us. We both kind of talk to each other that way, and we're just able to separate it so nobody's feelings get hurt.
Yeah, that's smart. And also, what I found is just a realization that sometimes it's going to get sticky.
Oh yeah.
And if you know that it's going to come like once in a while, it just helps with that. And then also those days when you have to work together and you hate each other.
Yeah, right.
Just knowing that you'll get over it eventually.
Exactly.
Right?
It's inevitable. Like, business is not perfect. It's the opposite of that. There's struggles. And if you're partnered up or if you're in business with friends or family, you're going to get into tiffs. That it's not always going to be perfect. But it just kind of always goes back to the relationship and the communication that you build and setting the expectations from the get-go before the business is open. Because if you do it too late, it's kind of hard to backtrack at that point, you know?
How old are you, man?
I turned 30 in a few days, July 19th.
This is crazy, man. I feel like this conversation has been going real, I feel like I've been talking to someone with like years of experience of running their own business.
Thank you.
I'm 5 years older than you. I opened my first business when I was 30. Oh, okay. So yeah, dude, you're like way ahead of me when I first started. Beautiful, man.
Yeah,
beautiful. Two businesses before you turned 30. Nice, dude. That's really amazing, man. That's so cool. I'm so glad I got you on here.
Yeah,
no, we're not done yet, but I'm just really glad I got you.
Keep it going. Keep it going. No, I'm so happy to be here. I'm very thankful that you reached out.
Because I feel like we're in, what's the word? We're like in the lower percentile of people like who choose this career path, Is there anything that turns you off from the like, mundane Monday through Friday, weekends off, 9 to 5?
Everything about that turns me off. Yeah. Every single thing about that. Yeah. And I feel like I knew that even back in high school, like even actually way before that in, middle school and stuff, I was kind of always that kid to take my players cards and go sell them, go flip them. If I had 50 cents, I would go turn it into $1.25. I would be setting up the lemonade stands. I would be selling toys and things like that. And I feel that a lot of entrepreneurs and different podcasts and mentors and things that I've, heard and people that I've talked to, they've kind of all shared those similarities. I don't know about yourself too, but it kind of goes way back when, where it's just kind of instilled in you. It's ingrained in you. And I just feel like right out of high school, I just knew that I never wanted to be in that 9 to 5, that mundane, work for somebody else. Yeah. I didn't want to work so hard to make a fraction of it, but make them so much money, And I
feel like every entrepreneur has always had like that one shitty boss that's just made them realize like, no, fuck this dude. Never again, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So maybe everybody needs a shitty boss at least once. Dude.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah,
you learn so much from it. You learn what you don't want.
Exactly. I tell this story like a lot on this podcast, but my first job was an ice cream job. It was actually a Dryers. I scooped ice cream, and I went through 3 different owners, and I got to see the shitty boss, the amazing boss, and then like the middle of the road boss, and I really think that's where it started for me. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I know exactly what to do after this. 'Cause I was running that shop by myself at one point, and I realized, it doesn't take that much, to be a shitty boss. And then also at the same time, you see what a place can be if you put your heart and soul into something as simple as an ice cream shop.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. And it's funny, I'm still serving ice cream till this day. I can't get away from it.
That's amazing though. You took that from your first job and you transformed it into your own business.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So hopefully our list, because that was the main reason why I started this podcast. There are people out there that want to do crazy things like you and I, Frank. And, you know, hopefully they can find little nuggets of like inspiration or like ways to save money, you know?
Yeah,
so
totally. And I would say do it. You know, again, if you have the idea, do your research on it, figure out who else is doing, you know, what you want to do and how that's similar to it, and how you could find your own niche, finding your own niche and then bringing it to a city or community that doesn't have it there, or that you just stand out, you know, because I don't necessarily think that people are thinking of brand new things, right? Like the Steve Jobs and Apple and all these other things I mean, I'm sure that we will have that in the future. Somebody will think of something that nobody's thought of, but with just the technology that we have these days, it's very hard and rare to find something that nobody's thought of. But it's also taking action. So when you think of that idea, or if you see a business model that you like, but you're like, oh, I would do this, I would change this differently. Well, pursue that. You know, do your research, get everything together. Like you said, save. That's a huge thing. Capital is king. Mm-hmm. You can have all these ideas in the world, but if you don't have access to capital, whether it's your own or an investor or a bank, it won't happen. It can't come to fruition.
Yeah. Man, you made the right choice dropping out of college. I talk about that a lot because I actually graduated college, and I feel like I wasted my time. I could have started so much earlier if I had started earlier.
Right.
But I didn't have a choice. My Filipino parents we're not going to allow me to drop out of college.
Right.
It takes a lot of guts to just say, hey, you know what? Fuck it.
Totally.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Man, dude. Good
yeah.
for
I just, and, you know, and it would be interesting to see if when I opened up my first business, if I did graduate, you know, do all the 4 years, and if I would have opened one already, or if I, you know, I'm just very thankful for my past and that risk that I did take. And because it was hard, you know, I did want to pursue, I was so close to finishing, but in my heart, I just knew like, I'm kind of tapped out here. Like I'm just going, and it's just very, you know, over and over again. Like you said, very mundane. And I just really didn't want to continue to go. I wasn't passionate about it anymore. And I just wanted to take action elsewhere. And that's where I learned the most, because I did take a ton of classes for business and all those things where I did learn kind of the basics in accounting and whatnot. But in my opinion, you don't really learn it until you're in the real world, until you're applying it,
yes.
Right? You could learn all this behind a desk, but once you take it and you apply it, and then you submit a letter of intent to a landlord, and you're in lease negotiation, and then you're reaching out and interviewing contractors and getting multiple bids and hiring an architect, and then after all that's over, actually opening up your business and sustaining a successful business, school can't teach you that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, exactly. And I went to Sac State for entrepreneurship, and everything you just talked about, we didn't learn once. Letter of intent, how to get these landlords to like decide if they want you or not, talk to architects, the things you need to know.
Yeah.
Right. And I spent 4 years trying to get that business degree. I got it, and they taught me how to write a shitty business plan, which you don't even really need. No. You fucking you waste your time writing a fucking business plan, and they kind of just look at it and, right?
Right, yeah. I mean, the business plan is probably the easiest part of it all.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, especially if it's your business and you're passionate about it, you can write a novel on it, you know, but there's so much that happens before that and then after that. So that's crazy.
Yeah. We should start our own school.
Let's do it.
Yeah, how to
I would love that.
How to be a small business owner.
Yes.
Dude, you ever think you'd have like a cracking ass, like inspirational Instagram page? Because I'm feeling juiced after talking to you, man. I'm ready to open up my next restaurant, dude.
Let's go. Yeah. No,
if you had the time though, right?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely want to, and that's why I'm so happy I'm on here and that you, you reached out, because I want to I'm a huge advocate of spreading the knowledge, trying to help anybody in any way that I can, and the mistakes that I made, or even the streamlined process, that I have been luckily able to go through, helping people streamline the process, and then also helping them kind of not make the same mistakes too. I feel like if you have knowledge and you have experience, you need to share that.
Yes.
That's our calling in life. Everybody has something specific that they could share to somebody, whether it impacts one person or 1,000 people.
Yep.
So I definitely should.
I agree.
I should start a page.
Dude, I'll be your first follower.
All right.
And there's so much more benefit to being an open book compared to being a gatekeeper. Coming from like a former gatekeeper, like it's such a better outlook on life, and realizing that there's just so much room for everyone. And just to share, like you said.
100%.
Yeah. So hopefully we can provide that for our listeners today.
Yeah, and I think the things that I've kind of realized is that there are other people out there that maybe don't have a voice, or, you know, there's so many other people out there that actually want to hear all of this information, but they don't know where to go, where to get it, you know, because nowadays there's so many different ways to get it, and you're kind of like juggling, well, you know, is that true? Does that work? You know, but I think that for me in my life, I want to continue to open up businesses and help people and impact their lives in a healthy way. And then also, you know, if anybody has any questions, I will always take the time to sit down and talk and answer them in any way that I can and help them.
I wanted to get into that with you because, you know, coming from someone who struggled with being overweight or like fat his whole, most of my life, like, do you think, because, you know, I listen to the Joe Rogan podcast a lot, and he says that like hiring a personal trainer like changes the game, right? Do you agree with that? Because I've never ever had. I've just tried to do it myself. I'm 35 years old and no results.
Yeah, no, I think it definitely does. I think, you know, nowadays there are so many trainers out there, and unfortunately it's very, very easy to get your personal training certificate. So there's a lot of Instagram trainers where they'll pay $200, get the most basic personal trainer certificate, and then, you know, claim that they're a trainer and stuff. And, you know, so I feel like you definitely want to do your research and find a good trainer with experience and things that you're specifically looking for within that trainer. But 100%, you know, because we're teachers. Personal trainers are teachers. So you're hiring somebody that knows more than you in that field. And it's not only about the gym. It's about, you know, they may or may not be a registered dietitian or nutritionist, but they can definitely help you more than you can help yourself. And one of the biggest things that we are as trainers is, you know, we are definitely motivators, but accountability. Like, that's one of the biggest things, is because people are sore, they don't want to come back, or whatever, their life is busy or something happened, right? But accountability is one of the top things that trainers, you know, that's what we do. Yeah.
Does this type of trainer exist still? Like, I'm super busy, right? Can I find a trainer who can like come to me, like what? How often should I work out? 3 times, 4 times a week?
Yeah.
And they'll just like work me out and work around my schedule?
Totally.
Does someone like that exist?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I did for many years. So I started off at Facebook again, which was kind of like a gym. Mm-hmm. And then throughout that time, and even a little bit before Facebook, I had personal training clients where I would go to their house. They had a garage gym. And then I actually was renting a gym, or I was just a trainer at a personal trainer gym, where it's pretty much, it was a 5,000 square foot gym, and only personal trainers could be there with their clients. Like, it wasn't an open gym. You couldn't have like a membership. So I just paid monthly rent, and I was able to train as many people as I wanted there. So that was great. And I had, you know, my clients come to that. So I was just back to back to back, you know, anywhere between 8 to 10 clients a day. But then after I did that for a year or so, I was able to go to them, and then I didn't have any overhead. I didn't have to pay rent. So all my clients, I was either able to train them at my apartment complex gym or their house. So I would actually drive to them. I would charge them a little bit more because there's a, you know, travel fee for gas and stuff. But 100%, there's trainers out there like that that'll work around your schedule for sure. Because
I feel like I'm in a position now to be able to pay a little extra for my own personal health. Because like, I'm at the point right now, like, you know, I'm doing all this and I'm trying to, you know, set myself up for the future. But if I'm not healthy, like, what's the point of it all? You know, I don't want to be that 50-year-old dude who, you know, has like a fucking heart attack or a stroke and just can't even enjoy the quality of life. Like, why am I doing all this now for later when I'm going to be like in shitty health? You know what I mean?
I agree completely. Yeah. I mean, we're not good for anybody if we're not good for ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. And it starts with your health. Because you can be super driven and super successful and have all these businesses open, but if you don't even live to 50, then, you know, what good are we? You know, so you have to take care of yourself, you know, and it all starts with just getting in a good sort of exercise routine regimen, and then, you know, following a good diet. My whole thing is that you just don't want to do too much in the beginning, meaning you don't want to try to set these crazy goals, because I've seen clients in my past where they set these crazy goals and they end up quitting. They end up falling off. I'm like, let's kind of bring it back a little bit. Let's set realistic expectations and goals. We'll start small and then we'll add on slowly from there so it sticks.
Yeah, that's me. That's me. I'm going to go to the gym every day. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Oh, and the biggest thing too, one of the biggest ways to get results is rest, recovery. You know, so many of my clients have they want to do double days and work out 7 days a week. And I'm just like drilling it into them. I'm like, look, you need to rest, because that's when your body is able to recover. Your muscles are able to recover themselves, is whenever you're resting. So rest days are very, very important. You're not going to reach your potential, your highest potential, if you're never resting. And then no matter who you are, you're eventually going to burn out.
Yeah. How many days off do you do?
About
personally?
two.
You do two?
About two. Typically Wednesdays and Sundays.
Nice. Mm-hmm. There you go. How is that? How has your personal health been affected ever since you opened up your own restaurant?
Oh my God.
Because the restaurant takes up all of your time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But dude, you're not, look at you. If I'm sorry if I'm being too personal,
No, you're
but
good,
like, dude,
you're good. Thank you. I'm flattered.
you're in great shape. You know what I mean?
You. Yeah.
We look quite different.
Not for long.
Yeah.
Not for long. No, it's honestly, after opening up Lean Feast, it's helped me so much. And I was so busy. I was definitely understaffed. My whole kind of mindset whenever we first opened was, I'm going to run it lean. I'm going to run it as lean as possible. So it was me and 4 other people. And looking back, and now I have 10 people now. So looking back, I'm just like, how do we do it? You know, it was crazy. It was super hectic, but that meant I was up at 5 a.m. I was at the store at 5:30 and I was there until about 10:30 p.m. for the first month and a half. So working out, there was no time, but I definitely lost some muscle mass, but I was still able to I was very, very healthy. I felt amazing, but I was a little bit more lean than I liked, because I do like to sustain a good amount of muscle mass. But I was eating really, really clean. And that just goes to show that you don't have to work out as intensely or as often if your diet is in check. You know, 75 to 80% of getting somebody to their physical goals, fitness, is definitely...
You can answer it if you want, man.
Oh, no, is that me?
Is that me?
I think it's you.
Fucking, I'm so embarrassed, dude. You can answer it if you want. I sound like a fucking dick, dude.
That was not my phone, everybody.
Yeah, I'm going to leave that on.
Love it.
Sorry about that, Bryce.
No, you're good. But is nutrition, 75 to 80% of it is what we put in our body, right? Like we are what we eat. So that's kind of the life hack when it comes to it, is that you don't have to work out as often or even as hard if your diet is really, really good. So I try to have my, whoever I'm helping, whether it's friends, family, or clients, I try to, really drill into them. Like, let's get your diet on point where you're eating clean 6 days out of the week. You're allowing yourself for that cheat meal, because cheat meals are definitely necessary. I think more psychologically, right? Just for your mental, it's like, I want a burger, but I can't have it. Then you're going to eventually, rebel against yourself, and you're just going to go crazy and go on a binge or bender. And then that's going to be a big setback. So I always allow my clients to have the cheat meals, as long as you have to earn it though. Right? Like Monday through Saturday, you got to be really, really good with it, or Monday through Friday and have a cheat meal, on Saturday or Sunday. But don't let that turn into a cheat day or a cheat weekend, because then you're just kind of trying to outwork a bad diet at that point, and that won't work. You'll get results if you're working out frequently and you have an okay diet, but you're going to be kind of capped. You're going to be limited. Your body's not going to be able to go past that certain threshold, to where if you were really good with your diet and you're really good with your fitness and your exercise, your body will reach its highest potential.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds so easy, right? But then I can't even say that to you. You have your own restaurant, even though you serve healthy food, but sometimes you just have to taste the chicken adobo or the burrito that I have. Maybe I should have opened up a Lean Feast.
I mean, you're right though. I mean, the first month and a half, still that's all I eat, but the first month and a half, it was literally all I ate. I didn't eat anything else, because we have breakfast too. So it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, everything. And I remember the second weekend, I was like, I just want a burger. And we're right next to Five Guys. Yeah. So one of my employees was like, hey, I'm going to go get Five Guys. I was like, he's like, do you want anything? I'm like, actually, yeah. So I got a triple burger with cheese, fries, and a shake. And it was that craving, but I didn't feel guilty, because I knew how consistent and how good and clean my eating was. Yeah. So you're right. I mean, even though I own a meal prep place with all healthy food, there's 100% of the, so many times where I just want to go to Chipotle. I want to go get a burger. I want something else other than that. But 90% of what I eat, if not more, is coming from that, and it's clean and it's healthy. And then also too, it's crazy, because after you do have that cheat meal, you feel so bad. You know what I mean? You feel so bloated, and I always can tell with my with my ring. This is my dad's ring, and when it slides easily, I'm like, okay, it's good. There's no sodium in my body or anything like that. But anytime I have my cheat meal, I can't really move it, and it's just crazy how when you eat clean consistently, how good you feel, and when you put a little bit of bad something in your body, how instantly you just feel like crap. You feel lethargic. You don't feel good. You're sitting in a chair and your heart's pumping out of your chest. There's a reason for that, and it's because when you're eating clean, you're putting all these good things in your body. And whenever you go out and you're not making a good, healthy decision, your body is kind of going into shock. Like, well, what is this? So it's good instant feedback that if you're eating clean consistently and then you have that bad meal, you're like, this is why I don't really want to do this.
Yes.
You kind of limit that.
I think maybe because I'm like 35 now and certain foods aren't sitting with me as when I was 30, but I'm only recently paying attention to like how I feel after I eat like a shitty meal. Mm-hmm. And it's, it just makes you think how I was able to do this like for so long, because you're so right. Like you'll just, cause I am trying to eat healthier. Mm-hmm. And when I do have that cheat day, like, boy, man, the next day it's really rough.
Yeah.
It is really rough.
Yeah.
So.
And it's hard to get back from that, right? Like if you do have that cheat day, you wake up, you do like a boozy brunch, and then you go get, a burger somewhere for lunch, and then pizza at night. If that's on a Saturday, you wake up on a Sunday, psychologically, you're not going to wake up and like, I want a salad. I want to get right back to my healthy eating. your body just wants to kind of take over and continue to put what you just put in yourself. And that's why it's so easy to just let the diet go. And that's a big reason why I opened up Lean Feast. And I'm just so bought in with the company and just our business model is because it's so hard for people to eat clean consistently, no matter what their excuse is, right? Like for you, you're an entrepreneur, you're very, very busy. So many other people are busy, whether they're an entrepreneur or just working their 9 to 5 or whatever their occupation may be. But I think when you can provide convenience for people and it's quality, you're going to be successful, and that's exactly what Lean Feast is. We take the shopping, the cooking, and the cleaning out of it. You don't have to go spend all day on Saturday shopping, all day on Sunday cooking, and then Sunday night prepping out your meals and then cleaning all that up. And good luck doing that every single weekend for 52 weeks out of the year. Nobody could do it. It's really, really, really hard to do. Mm-hmm. And we have a ton of bodybuilders coming in there. So our food is very, very clean. These guys are 2 of my athletes. They've been competing ever since we've opened. I mean, they've been competing for years, but they've had, I think, at least 2 to 3 shows each since April. And they're coming in there picking up 21 meals a week and they're eating our food. So if they can have it, it's really, really good and it's really clean.
That's smart. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that most people like right now. It's convenience,
right?
Because we all tend to be busy, and man, I can't imagine meal prepping the whole year. Like if you're a bodybuilder, like you should be focusing on yourself,
right?
Well, not cooking how to cook chicken or like some zucchini, right?
Right. Yeah. 100%. And a lot of people, if they don't have something like a Lean Feast, they either hire a meal prep place where they get their food kind of shipped, or they hire somebody like a cook to cook for them. But that is so much more expensive than coming to Lean Feast.
Yeah.
And
also, I may say, like, if I was a bodybuilder, even though I don't know what that's like, if I walked in and I see my homie Frank, like, I'm like, yeah, this guy is the owner and he looks great. He knows what he's doing, compared to like, if you see RJ who owns Lean Feast, I'm like, what is this guy putting in the chicken? You know what I mean? So I like that you're backing that up. You know what I mean? That makes so much sense.
Totally. And yeah, I agree. I think you hit the nail on the head. In the fitness industry, you have to look the part. Same thing if you're a trainer, right? If you're someone who's 60 pounds overweight and you claim to be a trainer and stuff, and you want to have all these clients, and whenever they come to meet you in person for the first time and they're looking at you and they're like, you're going to put me through, I'm going to look like you if I train with you, so you have to look the part, definitely, when it comes to health. Yeah. Yeah.
Makes sense. It's like having like a fat doctor, right? Telling you to lose weight. Yeah. Like, okay, man. Right. You look like me.
Exactly. Yeah. You're like, I'm really going to listen to you then. Yeah.
Oh, shoot. I don't know if I'm supposed to say fat anymore. Just kidding. This is my fucking podcast.
It's your
I can say
fucking
whatever
podcast.
I want.
Yes.
Coming from a fat person, you should be able to call people fat.
There you go.
We're going to wrap it up soon, but I have one question to ask you. Do you feel like coming into the restaurant world as a coach, do you feel like it's benefited you? Because I feel like, man, I'd love to be like one of your employees, man. You seem like very motivational and positive.
Yeah, I mean,
how has that benefited you?
It's totally benefited me, and I think just because they go hand in hand, right? Like fitness and health, and working out and health, and diet and eating. So 100%. I think that again, that's why it was a no-brainer for me to open up Lean Feast after having created such a great following through Orange Theory and being the fitness guy in Vacaville. I mean, obviously there's a ton of other great gyms in Vacaville too, but being like in my own niche and building that community and people knowing who I am and my story and everything. And of course, like you said, like looking the part, I really do value my fitness. I work out frequently. I watch what I eat. I watch what I put in my body. So it has 100% benefited me, coming and being a coach or trainer and then opening up this, because it's just more backing too. You know, it's not just, oh, this guy looks the part, but like, he's a lawyer, you know, this guy's a trainer. He does this every day. You know, I'm passionate about it. And that was the only part in school that I really enjoyed, was learning the kinesiology part of it, learning the body, learning the anatomy and the chemistry. Like I really fell in love with that. But like I was saying, like after I learned all of that and the classes were done and there was still a year and a half or so to go to graduate, I was like, well, I've learned enough from this and I'm moving on, but very, very passionate about it. So I think passion kind of overrides it all too.
Yes. That's a very common theme on this podcast is passion. Without that, what else is there in life?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Could you imagine just doing something every day, day in and out, and you're not passionate about it? And just like life's way too short not to do what you want.
100%. Right? Yeah. Yeah. And I feel, you know, I really feel for the people who haven't really found their passion yet, you know? And I would just say, in order to find that, just put yourself out there. Anything that you're interested in. If you're interested in 5 different things, then go find somebody who's doing that and reach out to them. And, you know, luckily with social media these days and technology, you're able to reach out to people that, you know, aren't in the same city or even state or even country as you. So find the people, really dissect and research the people that you're interested in and reach out to them and hound them, you know, and try to get all this information from them. And that'll help you kind of filter out what you want to do. And if you want to make your passion lucrative, you know, if you can turn that into a business, then the tools are out there for sure. You know, I think that people that haven't really found their passion yet, you just got to keep looking and you have to pursue it, and you just got to keep going. You know, you definitely have to keep going, because everybody does have a passion and something that you're good at, specifically you, that you could bring to the table. Yeah.
Whether you're 30, 35, 40, if you like making pottery or if you like getting buff, dude, like you should just pursue that. And you know, I can assume you're not doing this for the money. I can just tell you are doing this because you love doing what you do.
100%.
Yeah. And I mean, it's nice to make money, but also it's so much better to do what you love.
Exactly. Yeah. And just helping people. Like I said, like I want to help people in their life live longer, you know, feel better, look better, feel better about themselves, have better relationship with their significant others, their friends, their family member, their spouses, you know, and it does start with that. If you feel good about yourself, you're going to be a better person at home for your kids, for whoever, you know, and I really feel that that's kind of my calling in life, is helping people through what I'm passionate with and about, which is fitness and, you know, and now nutrition and food and lean feast. So, you know, I think that every single city needs a lean feast, you know, no matter where it's at. Like we need to be there because everybody's busy no matter where you're at.
Makes sense. What's next for you?
Second location.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
I want to have as many of these under my belt as I possibly can, and just continue to spread the you know, the knowledge and helping other people in different cities and communities. So, hoping to find a good location, second location this year, and I think after that, just try to open about 2 to 3 a year. You know, not doing them too close together and not biting off more than I could chew, but I want to have 15, 20 of these, you know. I want to be a master franchisee.
A crazy person like me.
Yes.
I love it. I love it, man. I feel like we're going to be great friends.
100%. Yeah.
I'm going to put you on the spot, man. Do you have a trainer for me? Cause I'm serious. I'm ready. Do you have anybody that's available right now?
I do.
Okay.
I do. His name is DJ Kelly.
Okay.
Yep. He's a native here in Vacaville. He's super educated. He's been looking for his own gym.
Okay.
Because he has just a crazy amount of clients right now, and he's kind of doing what I was doing years ago at a personal training gym where he pays rent and he's training his people there. But the following and the amount of clients he has, him and I talk a lot. And his whole thing is he wants to have his own place. I'm like, you 100% need to do that because everybody knows your name. You're amazing at what you do. You have, you know, people on a wait list for you. So you need to go do this, and you need to, make your own gym. So he's looking right now, but I can 100% connect you guys and get you in there with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. I
Definitely.
appreciate you, my brother.
I appreciate you,
man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Lean Feast Vacaville. Oh, do you have any do you want to promote anything? Shout outs or?
Yeah. So if you're local, we're in the Nut Tree Shopping Center. We're right next to Five Guys and Jamba Juice. Follow us on Instagram, Lean Feast Vacaville. Follow us on Facebook, Lean Feast Vacaville. I'm always there. My bed's in the back, so anytime you go, I'll be there. But yeah, we would love to help you. And if you have any questions about diet or anything like that, we're there to help. So even if you're kind of hesitant, you're overwhelmed with all the different options, just come in, and me or my staff will definitely take care of all of you guys.
Cool. You gonna be there tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm gonna stop by.
All right.
Thank you, man.
Sounds good. Thank you. Appreciate it.